Hey everyone, welcome to the Mass Construction Show. I'm your host, Joe Kelly, and this is a podcast about all things construction in Massachusetts and beyond. Today's show is brought to you by Central, commercial carpenters and supporters of our conversations. Enjoy the show. We continue to see these polls and studies saying companies want you back in the office. They get more production, collaboration, whatever. In fact, politicians, property owners, banks all want you back in the office, but you don't want to go. It means you have to work more hours, get less pay. Why? Your commute adds hours to your week, and you have to pay to commute, whether it's gas and tolls and whatever else it is. So it costs you more money, and you need to spend more time. You don't want to do it. So if I'm a small company, what am I doing? I'm going to eat the big companies for lunch. As Jim Cramer would say, I'm going to buy. Like, so bangs that button, buy. If there are good quality remote workers and I'm a small company, I am going to gobble them up, and guess what? At a discount, because people are losing their jobs, or they're saying, if you don't come back to work, we're going to let you go, or you're going to, whatever other repercussions. But that means smaller companies, nimble companies that can work remotely and say, I don't care where you do your work from. If we need to meet up, we can meet up at a Starbucks and talk about something, or in the office, wherever that office is. I'm in a little office in Waltham. Mike and I meet here when we need to. Soraya meets here. Soon Shannon's going to be meeting here. It's perfectly doable, and no one needs to commute and handle all that. Now I understand. Superintendents need to be on site. Carpenters need to be on site. Certain jobs call for that. But many jobs don't, and just forcing people back in the office for sake of being back in the office is a mistake as far as I'm concerned. So small companies, we're going to win here. Here's your chance. Buy. Had a little bit of fun lately. So the Spotify Wrap for the Mass Construction Show came back and said there were 5 podcasts that Mass Construction Show listeners listen to the most. It was Joe Rogan, Pardon My Take, Spittin' Chicklets, The Kirk Minahan Show, and Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard. I knew the first floor. I didn't know this Dax Shepard show. I have not listened to that one, but I did my own little poll and said on Instagram and LinkedIn, say, what do you listen to? Are you a Mass Construction Show listener, and what do you listen to? Not surprisingly, it confirmed what Spotify had to say, and I saw a lot of those same names. And then I saw also a lot of other names. Like I saw a bunch for Jocko, not my speed. He's a little too much for me. But then I poked and picked, and some I listened to, some I didn't. But I did listen to Founders. Thanks, Skip Kramer for Founders. And I really enjoyed that one. They talk about, kind of old-timey founders from back in the 1910s and 20s to modern day folks like Steve Jobs and Jeff Bezos. And they kind of tell their life story and what their philosophy is on business. I listened to one on Aristotle Onassis, and I found that one fascinating. The founder of Hyundai as well, I found fascinating. So if you get a chance, listen to Founders. I'm not getting paid for them. I'm not plugging them for any other reason than I found it really interesting. So thanks, Skip, for turning me on to Founders. Mass Construction Show Network went out this week, which is our, impromptu newsletter that is information that you will find valuable if you're in this industry. I put it out when there's valuable information to share. A lot of times a month will go by, there is no valuable information. I am not going to clutter your inbox to say, oh, we're a weekly or, bi-weekly or monthly newsletter. I am not an anything newsletter. We are a newsletter when there's information that you need. And I think you can take a look. I'm welcome to even share the data. The open rates on Mass Construction Network, I am extremely proud of. It's between 60 and 70% on every single one of them. The amount of links that get clicked are crazy. The amount of times that email gets shared to other people is crazy. The metrics on it are awesome, which is a good sign for us because it means that it really is valuable information. It's not just I'm saying it's valuable. It really is valuable. So what is in there this month? The Permanent Extension Act. Permanent Extension Act passed in Massachusetts, which says I'm going to roughly speaking here, go to the network or look up the bill. It's like H5100. And what it says is if you received, roughly speaking, your permit was issued in the year of 2023 and 2024, you get to extend the expiration date on that permit by 2 years. So if you were in June 2023 and the building code says that permit is good for 6 months, June plus 6 months would be December 2023. So that add 2 years to that. So December 2026 is what your permit would be good to. So this is great news for these projects that were lingering, kind of got permitted but never happened because of financing or interest rates or whatever the problems were. That Permitting Extension Act is a useful tool to maybe jumpstart these projects that were dead. And they are allowed, if you sell the property with the permit to somebody else, that person can also extend it. Look up the bill for all the details. I'm not an attorney. I am leaving a bunch of stuff out. There's exceptions and this and that. But long story short, if you're thinking about purchasing a permit or you have a permit in hand, there's a good chance that that thing can be resuscitated and brought back to life. Very good news. There's also a bunch of projects that got funded in there. So go ahead and check that bill out. It is interesting. We also gave you a what is kind of new from a code perspective in 2025. So codes that have just recently taken effect, regulations that have just recently taken effect or will take effect in 2025. So we're talking 10th edition of building code with the concurrency period, all the new energy codes. They're still voting on fossil-free communities. So you'll see that happening. The new FPPM affidavit in Boston requiring a renewal for hot work certification. So all that kind of stuff is in there. We also have a plan reading class. We put that in there. Been getting a lot of people asking about the plan reading class. January 30th here in Waltham. We will have basics of plan reading 101. It is normally 2 2-hour sessions. We're going to do it in about 4.5 hours. We'll give you a break in between. So if you are new to this business, don't know how to read drawings, need a 101 class, reach out. I'll put it in the show notes or find me and we will get you signed up. There's only 12 seats. So do it now if you are interested. We also talk about fire exposure analysis, what the thresholds are for a building to need a fire exposure analysis in NFPA 241. And that is a big deal because if you need that fire exposure analysis, it costs a lot of money to do it, but more importantly, the implications are going to cost tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to comply. So you want to know, you've got a multifamily wood frame project going. Do you need a fire exposure analysis? If you do, it is going to be big dough. All right, that's it. Thanks for listening to this short episode. Thanks for engaging. Thanks to everybody that likes, follows. For the folks that like the more personal stuff, that really happens over on Instagram. The more business stuff happens over on LinkedIn. So check out those platforms. I mean, if you want me to rail on plastic and chemicals and, purchasing farm animals, all that kind of world, that happens all over on Instagram. If you want the technical stuff and the hardcore construction stuff, that's happening over on LinkedIn. So please go check those out. Both of them, more so LinkedIn than Instagram, get a lot of video content. Thanks for listening.